Good news, everyone! Tonight, a transillion of trans leaders shine. A special election season edition of Good News starts right now. Last week, we talked about a bunch of trans people running for office. This week, let's meet some of the trailblazers already hard at work fighting for human rights for all. At time of recording, there were 1,270 GSM elected officials across the United States, comprising just 0.24% of all elected offices. Of those, only 20 hold elected office at the state level and are openly trans. Here are the folks who have information publicly available. Lorena Austin is the non-binary representative for Arizona's 9th District, from their website. As a proud Mesa native, Lorena has remained actively engaged in their community, volunteering with various organizations. Their dedication to activism extends to their role as a state House representative in Arizona, where they have tirelessly fought for access to abortion, funding pre-K-20 public schools, and championed LGBTQ+ rights. Driven by their firsthand experience of the housing challenges in Mesa, Lorena is working to create more affordable housing options in their district. Their efforts include advocating for the construction of smaller, more affordable homes to address the pressing need for housing. As a state House representative, Lorena's advocacy extends to the critical issues such as ensuring abortion access, preserving water supply, and expanding affordable housing options. Their fearlessness in confronting injustice and amplifying marginalized voices embodies their relentless pursuit of a fair and inclusive society. Jerry Cannon, trans woman for the New Hampshire House 18th, has been advocating for over 20 years. She's a parent, a grandparent, a master carpenter, church steward, former school board member who only left that post to take on the role in state government, and frequent speaker at businesses, schools, and other events all over the state. She is retiring at the end of this term, but has laid a lot of groundwork for those who come after, including proposing a bill that would allow trans residents to update their birth certificates. Brian Cena, non-binary representative from Chittenden in the Vermont House, from their website. Upon graduation from high school, they attended Dartmouth College, despite being from one of the poorest high schools in Bergen County. Due to their commitment to need-blind admissions and their generous financial aid, they graduated from Dartmouth in 1998 as a senior fellow with a Bachelor of Arts degree in music. They moved to Burlington to make music and to serve as an AmeriCorps member at Spectrum Youth and Family Services. While at Spectrum, they began their journey in the profession of social work that led to receiving a master's degree in social work in 2005 at the University of Vermont. Since grad school, they've worked as a substitute crisis clinician. They also worked for 4 years as a family support worker and social services supervisor for transitional services for youth and families. After achieving professional licensure, they started a private practice in clinical social work in 2010. One of their areas of specialty is multicultural practice. They've worked mostly with those who face discrimination based on class, race, ethnicity, color, sexuality, gender identity and expression, and sex. They've served refugees, immigrants, LGBTQIA+ people with different abilities due to divergences and diversity of the mind, body, and spirit. They have both endured and witnessed the harms caused to the people by the systems of the state. They've heard hopes and dreams alongside the stories of trauma and pain as they listened to the voices of so many people over their 24 years working in Vermont. They have seen the power of people to overcome the greatest obstacles when they are empowered to not only change themselves, but also to change their world. Brianne Curran, non-binary rep from Minnesota House District 36B. From their website, Brianne began their career in the nonprofit world at Northeast Residents Incorporated 2 days after graduating Centennial High School in 2003. They spent 20 years at this nonprofit serving their neighbors with developmental disabilities and occasionally still volunteers there. After graduating college, they joined the White Bear Lake Police Department as a volunteer police reserve officer. They rose to the rank of reserve sergeant responsible for local event coordination and training other reserve officers, and later served as a 911 dispatcher. This work drives Brianne's passion to serve on the Human Services Policy Committee, where they passed bills to further independence and access to community resources. Emily Devendorf, non-binary representative from Michigan's House District 77. From their website, I served as an executive director for Equality Michigan, president of the Lansing Association of Human Rights, vice president of the board of the Firecracker Foundation, which advocates for survivors of childhood sexual trauma, and board member of the Lansing Area AIDS Network and the Ingham County Women's Commission. I was federally appointed in 2015 to the Michigan Advisory Committee to the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights and later served as co-chair. As a legislator, I am passionate about advocating for progressive policy, particularly on LGBTQIA equality, racial justice and equality, sexual and domestic violence, women's rights, and HIV/AIDS. Lee Finke, whose entry is incomplete, but fortunately we know from previous reporting that she hails from Minnesota and played a crucial role in making the state a trans sanctuary. She is the trans woman representative from District 66A, and from her website, Lee graduated from Bethel College in 2003 and received her Master of Arts in Shakespeare from DePaul University in 2007. After short turns in Chicago and Missoula, Montana, Lee moved home to St. Paul, becoming a longtime renter and resident of the Midway neighborhood. In the years prior to running for office, Lee worked as a journalist, media creator, and documentary filmmaker. In 2022, she was elected to the Minnesota House of Representatives, becoming the first out trans person elected to the Minnesota legislature. Throughout her first term, Lee has served as the chair of the Queer Legislators Caucus. Lee's political activism began at Bethel, when she took an active role in protesting the war in Iraq. She has never stopped advocating for civil liberties at home and abroad. Today, Lee is a committed and passionate advocate for 2S LGBTQIA+ equality, abortion rights, prison justice, and environmental equity. She was named Minnesota Woman of the Year by USA Today in 2023, a 2023 Changemaker by Minnesota Public Radio, and won the 2023 Health Hero Award at Children's Minnesota. In her personal time, Lee enjoys writing, painting, traveling, skateboarding, and organizing community events, and exploring Minnesota's parks with her kids. S.J. Howell, non-binary representative from Montana House District 95. From their website, I grew up in Billings, Montana, attended Billings Public Schools, played Little League in the park, and swam in the Yellowstone River in the summer. I first moved to Missoula to attend undergrad at the University of Montana, and I now feel fortunate to call Missoula my home, where I live with my partner, my 12-year-old son, and our cats. My work as a community organizer began as an undergraduate at the University of Montana. I've worked on issues from healthcare access, living wages, LGBTQ rights, criminal justice reform, and revenue. I am currently the executive director of a statewide nonprofit organization, Montana Women Vote, a job I held for 10 years before being elected into office. Sarah McBride, a trans woman, has been a Delaware state senator since 2021, and she's likely to become the first trans representative in the U.S. federal Congress. From her website, Sarah has worked for former Governor Jack Markle, the late Attorney General Beau Biden, and served in the Obama White House. Most recently, she served as the national spokesperson for the Human Rights Campaign, the nation's largest LGBTQ equal rights organization. Before she was elected to the state Senate, Sarah worked as an advocate to deliver critical wins across Delaware, leading to the successful effort to pass landmark non-discrimination protections in Delaware and championing legislation that protects vulnerable youth from child abuse. In July 2016, she was a speaker at the Democratic National Convention, becoming the first openly transgender person to address a major party convention in American history. In 2018, she published the book Tomorrow Will Be Different: Love, Loss, and the Fight for Trans Equality, with a foreword by Joe Biden. For her work and advocacy, Delaware's Governor Markle awarded McBride the Order of the First State, the state's highest civilian honor. It seems a virtual certainty she'll win the seat in the U.S. House of Representatives this fall, but her existing term concludes at the end of November. Deshauna Neal, non-binary representative from Delaware's District 13, from their website. I was able to pass bipartisan legislation for incarcerated medical health care and support substantial mental and medical health care change. I myself am a mental health provider for at-risk youth in the state of Delaware and see the gaps every day. As a member of the House of Representatives Health and Human Development Committee, I get to actively listen and shape the way our medical and mental health care looks for all in this state. My work to build a better community has grown during this first term. I have since become a mental health professional while maintaining my community organizing efforts. Constantly moving throughout my district, I have loved interacting with people from all walks of life, from local business owners to community leaders. I strive to not only lead my own constituents to prosperity, but to work with community partners so the needs of the people can begin to be met. My years in advocacy have shown me when we speak over each other, we all lose our voices. In Dover, I was able to work from both sides of the aisle and create impactful legislation. Additionally, I started bringing newsletters, constituent coffees, and public safety town halls to the people of District 13. I did this because I know that when the people are equipped with the ability to keep themselves, their families, and their community safe, they are empowered for generations to come. Danica Roem is a trans woman from Senate District 30 in Virginia and the first openly trans person in any U.S. state legislature. From her website, when I was a kid, my grandfather told me, quote, "The basis of my knowledge comes from reading the newspaper every day." After a while, mine did too. I ended up majoring in journalism and spent the last 10.5 years reporting the news, including 9 years in Prince William County. I started working for the Gainesville Times a month after graduating college and reported for the Prince William Times too, once our paper expanded to the eastern side of the county. If you're from here, you might have seen me at high school sports games, debates, hearings, or events, or at least recognized my hideous car in the parking lot. I covered games at every public high school in the county. I saw the best in people tackling poverty and homelessness and the worst in people killing each other. I wrote stories about schools, businesses, development, and of course, transportation. Lots and lots and lots of transportation. Bi-County Parkway, Tri-County Parkway, Sudley Manor, Vint Hill, Linton Hall, that little bridge in Nokesville, VRE 15, 28, 29, 55, 66, 234. If you ran for office in Western Prince William, we talked about transportation. My job was to know enough about the issues to hold elected officials accountable for what they did or didn't do about them. As a reporter, I had to listen to what people were saying and understand their reasoning regardless of my own opinions. It's a lot easier to judge people than to understand them. What makes journalism special is you have to actually pay attention. vet your facts, and receive an earful from your editor, and improve your work while reporting the news as a neutral, disinterested third-party observer. And that didn't change when I earned my election to the Virginia General Assembly. I continue to bring a reporter's sensibility to everything I do as a legislator. My number one job as your elected representative isn't to speak. It's to listen. To listen to residents, write down their concerns, ideas, and questions, follow up with them, and ensure what they tell me is part of my policy platform. That's how I took notes and wrote news stories. That's how I craft public policy. Research, question, listen, report. That is how we make real change. I make it my priority every day in everything I do to strive to be a consensus builder and change maker to best serve you, my friends and neighbors. James Roe Essener, trans man from New Hampshire District 22, Ward 8, and the first trans man elected to any state legislature. Information on him is curiously sparse, but he did write a biography that has since been misplaced by the internet, but was quoted in part by NPR on the occasion of his election. In it, he says, quote, "I believe that it is imperative that all individuals have the ability to thrive in New Hampshire," he writes. "We need a leadership that is invested in defending the freedom of all people by taking away barriers to shelter, education, healthcare, voting, and other basic necessities for quality of life." Taylor Small, trans woman from Vermont, Chittenden, 21. From the state website. Small graduated from both Colchester High School and Burlington Technical Center in 2012. She then graduated from the University of Vermont with a bachelor's degree in Human Development and Family Studies with a minor in Sexuality and Gender Identity Studies in 2016 and has lived in the greater Burlington area since. Small was elected as a state representative in November 2020, making her the first out transgender person to serve in the Vermont legislature. She has a strong background in mental health services, community organizing, outreach, and cultural humility education. She now lives in Winooski with her partner and 2 dogs. Izzy Smith Wade L., non-binary from Lancaster and Pennsylvania 49th. From his website. Working in social service organizations across the city, Izzy saw political leaders delivering less and less for working families, while out-of-town real estate developers took more and more. That's why in 2017, they decided to run for city council to widen our city's focus from downtown development to each and every neighborhood. On city council, Izzy has shown up and fought arm in arm with the community to meet their needs, from moving millions of dollars into investment in safe and affordable housing to decriminalizing marijuana and working with Black Lives Matter organizers to change the city police use of force policy. Izzy has joined with community leaders, nonprofits, and neighborhood groups to fight alongside them. But as hard as we work here in Lancaster, the laws of our Commonwealth favor giant corporations, lobbyists, and a status quo that hurts Lancaster's working families. These laws prevent us from leveling the playing field for our friends and neighbors and putting power to the values we share: kindness, welcome, dignity, and care. We've seen what can happen when we organize around our values. When immigrants were at risk, we fought to keep them here at home. When protesters were held on obscene bail bonds, we fought for their release. When COVID-19 ravaged our communities, we masked up, got vaccinated, and helped each other when illness struck. Everything we have accomplished in Lancaster happened because we organized around our values. And that's how we'll keep winning. Brianna Titone, trans woman from Colorado 27. A volunteer firefighter from high school, she earned a double degree in physics and geology before hanging up her boots to pursue a master's in geochemistry, which she put to use in environmental work in Colorado. During her first campaign for office, that wasn't hard mode enough, so she picked up a second master's in information communication technology. Because she is a boss as well as a geologist, she enjoys trail running through the mountains and photography, which I can very much appreciate. She's used her science skills with a nonprofit geared for helping to solve criminal cases that go over the heads of regular gumshoes. And as a state rep, she continues to overachieve by serving as chair of the legislative LGBTQ+ caucus, chair of the Joint Technology Committee, and as a member of the Energy and Environment, Health and Insurance and Agriculture, Livestock, and Water Committees. She also serves on the SIPA board, the Jeffco Schools STEM Advisory Board, the NCSL Energy and Environment Transportation Committees, as well as the Western Regional Democrat rep of the NCSL Women's Legislative Network Executive Board, the CSG West Energy and Environment, Canada Relations, and Colorado River Forum Advisory Committees. Oof! She believes in this radical idea that more people are needed in government who don't just follow an agenda, but listen to their constituents and hear their concerns. Maury Turner, non-binary rep from Oklahoma 88. From their website, Maury is the first Muslim elected in Oklahoma and the first non-binary person elected to a state-level position in U.S. history. They understand why equitable and accurate representation matters. This has led them to work with the NAACP of Oklahoma, CAIR of Oklahoma, Freedom Oklahoma, and a continuously growing number of grassroots organizations in the state. Since working in and around Oklahoma's criminal legal system, Maury came to the realization it's not about reform, but about reimagining and rebuilding our justice system with our communities in mind. They have championed legislation for accurate and equitable documentation for community members who live beyond the binary. Zoe Zephyr, trans woman from Montana 100th, Missoula. Zoe's is a name everyone should know. Partner to the journalist legend Aaron Reed, that's perhaps the least remarkable thing about her. After Montana passed a bill knowing full well it would lead to the deaths of trans children, she was censured by the legislature for her opposition, catapulting her to international fame. She's been the subject of considerable media attention, including a mini documentary. Let's watch a few clips.
In the governor's letter, he said Montanans who struggle with their gender identity deserve love, compassion, and respect. That's not what trans Montanans need from you. We need access to the medical care that saves our lives.
Majority Leader Vinton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I speak on behalf of our caucus. We will not be shamed by anyone in this chamber.
And the only thing I will say is if you vote yes on this bill and yes on these amendments, I hope the next time there's an invocation, when you bow your heads in prayer, you see the blood on your hands.
Montana Freedom Caucus is calling for Zephyr's censure, claiming she tried to shame the legislative body. All the while, they referred to the representative by the wrong pronoun.
Republican leaders prevented Democrat Zoe Zephyr from speaking for a third day due to her remarks about gender-affirming medical care.
Guests will come to order. Sergeant of Arms, will you please clear the gallery?
Rather than working from a desk in the Capitol office, instead is now occupying this bench.
Did you hear my favorite joke I've been making, which is finally transparency in government? Open doors. Open doors, yeah.
This is my student, Sid Bearsley.
Hi.
You've met Sid before.
Yeah.
I testified against Senate Bill 99, and we've just been so inspired.
Thank you so much, for everything you do.
We're fighting, okay? Hey. Hey. Chin up, okay? Don't let him take that away, okay? We're loved, and we're gonna fucking win this fight, okay? Okay?
There are some lovely folks sitting who have been parked on the bench that I was sitting on since the morning.
Hey, let's go up there and we'll occupy benches.
Hey, whether they just wanted to take a seat or whether they just wanted to take a stand, either way, hats off to you and the other ladies.
This account may not be used to operate existing state facilities, and so that was where my question was.
Standing desk is all the rage. That's what I hear.
She has been denied the opportunity to do what we sent her to Helena to do, which is speak on behalf of every single person.
It's really good to be home.
And our next person doesn't need an introduction. Zoe Zephyr!
And here I am thinking about my partner, who I would love to invite out here. I am so blessed to have Aaron by my side through all of this. So Missoula, if you could share a moment with me. Aaron, will you marry me?
Where's Posey Parker when a woman is actually being silenced? How curious. Folks, there are hard times ahead. But there are leaders within this community and more stepping forward every day who are driven to help us build a better tomorrow. If you're in one of these districts, Election Day is right around the corner. Make sure you support the candidates that support our community. Go vote. If you enjoy content like this, make sure to subscribe. Transpositions Weekly is the first and only trans news show in the universe, and we need your support to grow the shows we can offer. Join Patreon if you can. Spread the word all over social media to let people know we're here. And tell us what stories matter to you by joining the community on Discord. Hit like and leave a comment. Discord, of course, is where the memes live, and our meme of the week was posted by Bumblebee. And if you are tired of justifying your existence to people with an IQ lower than their shoe size, join us. Also, if you have good news concerning trans people you'd like to see reported on, you can tell us about that in the Discord as well. For the Transpositions, I've been Ember Belrad.